What's up, y'all? It's JS Method, or Coach JS, y'all may know me as, and today we're talking about what mistakes are worth worrying about and what mistakes can we kind of brush off. What do we focus on? Specifically, noise in League of Legends. We're going to talk about what it is, how to tell what noise is, how to tell what it is in your games, and then how to cut the noise out. So, going into this, I just want to talk about what is noise. When I say noise, what on earth does that mean? So, here's a picture from another video I made called Why We Tilt in Solo Queue, and this is one of my older videos. In this diagram, I kind of describe solo queue as like input. This is what you do, and then your input goes into the matchmaking system, and then the output is your rank, right? And you can kind of see matchmaking. I wrote we have no control over. You have no control over your teammates, over your enemies, over smurfs, trolls, AFKs, whatever. And of the input, you have complete control over how you play and how strong, how well you last it and how good your clicks are and how good your mechanics are, that kind of thing. Now, noise is the stuff we can't control, right? So it's our teammates and the enemies and the smurfs and the trolls and inconsistent things, right? So noise is stuff that happens that's not regular. It's irregularities in the gameplay. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because we had a session in the JS Academy today, and somebody was, we're playing a matchup where the person was playing really, really poorly. And that opened up a lot of opportunities for us to adapt to. So it's like, okay, we get to do certain things in this matchup that we would not get to do if they were playing normally, according to their champion and in the rank they're in, that kind of thing. And it was our first time playing the matchup, so we have this skewed idea of the matchup, right? Well, that's what noise is. Noise is seeing a mistake once and saying, okay, well, you can't tell if it's noise or not through it happening once. Now we kind of have to ask, does this make sense? And we have to see if it happens again, right? And if it happens 10 times, then it's not noise. But if it happens 10 times straight, or if it only happens once and the next 9 times it plays out correctly, and you're playing against a normal person who knows how to play their champion correctly, that's no longer noise, and that's something that we have to get a lot better at, right? So noise are things that just don't happen regularly, things that we don't have to worry about. So if it happens once, we don't have to worry about it. How to tell if something is noise, right? That's what this slide's all talking about. Does it happen consistently, right? You cannot tell from one game if something is noise, because after that game, you may come out of that matchup thinking, okay, I have an idea of what I can do next time, but if you try to execute on that, and the next person punishes you for it, now you have 2 sets of data, and you kind of have to ask which one makes more sense. Well, then you kind of have to ask yourself, do I have an impact? Which one? You kind of have to reason it out. Which one do I impact more, and what makes most sense if we're visualizing, like, what can this champion really do? And then once you have 5 data points, and now you've played the matchup 5 times, you can really develop some sort of idea of what's regular and what's not for the champion, right? And then after you have 10 data points, that makes a lot more sense. So one of the biggest points of this video is you cannot decide, or you shouldn't decide, a learning objective after seeing one mistake. One mistake is not enough to decide what you have to work on. Let's say you die once to something really cheesy. That does not mean your next learning objective for your next 10 games should be just avoiding that cheese, right? Or just avoiding this kind of thing. You have to wait for it to happen. Well, and you can have a hypothesis. You can say, well, this champion does this. That makes sense. I'm going to avoid this. And you can have a hypothesis. But be wary of making big learning objectives because of one mistake, right? So you can see even on this next slide, I say you have to, any consistent problems need to get fixed. But problems that aren't consistent and aren't happening all the time do not warrant getting fixed, right? This is why I would take notes. Mistakes from one game, something weird might have been happening. That might have been noise. Mistakes happening from one block, something weird might have been happening. You might have been playing off or whatever. Mistakes from one day might even be skewed. But the power of taking notes is you can kind of view from day to day to day what's going on. And you can kind of see, well, okay, and this has actually helped me a bunch where I've looked back at my notes and I've realized, oh, hey, every single time I run into this matchup, and I can prove it to myself through the notes I've taken over the weeks, something really bad happens. That's a learning objective. Or I'll notice, hey, 10% of my games, I'm just losing because of this one mistake, right? That's an example of something you need to fix that's not noise, because it's happening consistently and you can act on it. But noise might be like, oh, okay, I played against a Smurf, and now every time I play against this champion, I have to play this super scary way because they're all really good and Smurfy and I can't play. That's noise. Don't act on that, and it happens to everybody. So the biggest point of this video, and the reason I wanted to kind of say this in a video format, is one mistake is not enough to warrant your game. One set of data is not enough. And that's why we don't really want to worry about the outcome of our games too much. We really want to worry about our input to it, right? Could we have impacted that? Could we have played that better? Was the game in our control or not? It doesn't matter about the outcome. What matters is how you dealt with the game, how you did in relation to your opponent, what actions you took, how that impacted everybody else, right? Because you won't always have control over the game. Things will happen to you that aren't your fault. Things will happen to you. We call that noise again, right? Noise is going to happen to you. We have to find ways to cut the noise out. If one game, something weird happens, you need to say, okay, I'm watching for it next time to see if it happens again. But if it doesn't, just move on. It happens, right? So definitely, there's some people I know who like they'll play one game, and oftentimes it's people who don't play a lot, but like they'll play one game and now they'll start complaining about that one mistake and they'll talk about it all the time. And it's like, one game is not enough. It's so important that we're playing enough games. We got to play at least, if we're really trying to improve and we're really trying to cruise. I remember Coach Curtis and Nathan Mott saying somewhere from 20 to 30 games a week. I say 3 games a day. That comes out to 3 times 7. That comes out to 21 games a week, right? So somewhere in the 3 games a day on average-ish, we got to be putting in that amount, because our goal is to look back at those 20 games at the end of the week, see what caused our losses, see what caused us to underperform relative to our opponent, take the most common things and work on those things. Now, this is something that I even wish I had back when I was playing sports, because if I would have known just to like look back at my table tennis career and just watch the matches and watch the points and see the most common situations I was getting into and the most common situations I didn't like, and then seeing how to fix that, I would have known where to go so much better, right? It's so much easier to look back at the consistent problems. Look back, why do you die, right? Take note of your next 100 deaths and figure out what is the most common reason of you dying. Is it map awareness? Is it threat assessment? Right? Like, what is it that's causing you to die? And then that's your next threat awareness or threat assessment, whatever. Same thing. What's causing you to die? Right? Don't look at one death from one situation that felt really bad, because it doesn't matter. That's noise. Take a look at a large sample size of data and work on the things that happen most consistently and that are most problematic. Prioritize your problems. So this is just a quick video. I hope you guys appreciated it though. Cut out the noise, cut out the haters in chat and everything. Focus on what you can improve and your common problems. Let me know if you have any ideas for tomorrow's video. I appreciate you guys watching. Have a blessed night. Peace.